They force themselves to wake up when the bed feels warm and the world feels cold. They force themselves to train when the body screams for rest. They force themselves to study, to build, to grind, to grow, whether they feel like it or not. And it is in this forcing, this personal demand of greatness, where consistency is born. You see, consistency is not a feeling. It is not born out of inspiration. It's a command, a decision made in silence, repeated daily, regardless of how loud doubt or exhaustion gets. You don't wait to become consistent. You become consistent by action, by habit, by force. Think of the strongest people you admire, the champions, the entrepreneurs, the legends. Behind their headlines and highlights are thousands of days when they had every reason to quit but didn't, every reason to skip but showed up, every excuse available, and still they moved. That's the truth about greatness. It isn't gifted. It's forced into existence through discipline. And that's your weapon too. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need more inspiration. What you need, and what you already have, is the ability to take control of your body and your mind and say, no more waiting, no more excuses. I move forward now. But let's be clear. Forcing yourself doesn't mean punishing yourself. It means commanding your focus, controlling your habits, staring your laziness in the face and saying, not today, not ever again. You won't feel like it every day. In fact, most days you won't. And that's exactly why you must force it. When the alarm goes off, force yourself up. When the temptation whispers, force yourself to say no. When fear rises, force yourself to take the first step. When the grind feels endless, force yourself to remember why you started. Because here's the secret. The more you force, the easier it becomes. The brain is a creature of pattern. The body responds to routine. What is difficult now becomes second nature later. If you stay long enough to cross that invisible line between struggle and strength. You can't skip the hard days. You can't leapfrog over the frustration, the boredom, the plateaus. You have to walk through them. You have to work through them. You have to grind through them with force. Every time you force yourself to do what's necessary, you lay a brick. Not a flashy brick, not a viral brick, but a quiet, powerful, unshakable brick in the foundation of your future. Stack enough of them day after day, and you will wake up one day standing on a fortress of discipline, watching others still looking for motivation. There will be people who don't understand you, people who say you're too obsessed, too intense, too focused. Let them talk. While they chase comfort, you chase consistency. While they sleep, you sharpen. While they hesitate, you execute. You weren't born to be average. You weren't created to blend in. And you certainly weren't designed to rely on random sparks of motivation to determine whether you chase your vision or not. You were built to lead your life with power, with intention, and with force. So let this become your daily command. Force yourself to train. Force yourself to learn. Force yourself to rise when you fall. Force yourself to stay when quitting feels easier. Force yourself to be consistent. This is not a temporary strategy. This is a permanent lifestyle. It's a declaration that your actions will no longer be dictated by how you feel, but by who you are becoming. And who are you becoming? The person who does what must be done. The one who shows up even when no one's watching. The one who forces greatness out of every ordinary day. This world doesn't need more motivated people. It needs more consistent ones. Consistency built by discipline, and discipline powered by force. Consistency is not about feeling ready. It's about being ready when it matters most. When your emotions scream no and your vision whispers yes. To force yourself to be consistent, you must first silence the war inside you. The war between how you feel and what you need to do. And to win that war, you must arm yourself with discipline. Every morning you wake up and emotions begin their assault. You're tired, take one day off. You deserve to relax. They come disguised as self-care, comfort, even wisdom, but they are lies. Seductive ones that slowly pull you away from your purpose. And if you're not ready, they will win. They will guide your hand toward the snooze button, your feet away from your goals, your mind into complacency. This is where force comes in. This is where you rise. Because force is the hand that grabs the emotion by the throat and says, you don't control me today. It's the internal drill sergeant that doesn't care if you're tired, uninspired, unmotivated, bored, scared, sore, or uncertain. It cares about only one thing, showing up. That's what separates those who achieve from those who wish. The ability to show up every single day with the same fire, the same focus, even when that fire must be manually lit. You want to be different? Then live different. Don't let emotions control your actions. Let your decisions control your emotions. Decide to train before your body says it's ready. Decide to create before you feel inspired. Decide to lead before you're asked to. Then let the feeling follow the action, not the other way around. The masses wait to feel right before they move. The few, they move until it feels right. Force yourself to become one of the few. You must build your mind like a machine, programmed not for pleasure, but for purpose. That means building systems that activate when your emotions resist. Triggers that say, it's 5 a.m., we train. It's quiet, we build. It's hard, we go harder. Why? Because discipline doesn't need an excuse to show up. It's always there. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, it's not loud. It's a quiet commitment, whispered to yourself over and over again. I don't need to feel ready to act. I need to act until I feel ready. That's how you beat emotions. You make discipline louder than excuses. You make movement louder than resistance. You tell yourself, I don't answer to moods, I answer to standards. Most people let life happen to them. They wake up and float through the day, reacting to whatever mood shows up at their door, but not you. You don't float, you drive. You don't drift, you command. You don't wait, you move. You act before you feel like it. You finish even when you don't want to. And when it gets harder, you go deeper. You shut the door to excuses, lock it, and throw away the key. That's what consistency demands. Total control of your state. Because let's be honest, you won't always feel inspired, you won't always have energy, you won't always be in the mood, but that doesn't matter. The world doesn't reward feelings, it rewards results. And results come from repetition. Relentless, focused, intentional repetition. Even on the days your mind says stop, your body says slow, your energy says later, force overrides them all. Force says, I made a promise, I show up. That's what I do. Because consistency is not built in the days you feel great. It's built in the days you don't. When everything in you is screaming, take a break, and you answer with action. Those days, they're not just bricks in your foundation. They're concrete. They're what separate the temporary from the legendary. And here's the best part. The more you act in spite of your emotions, the stronger you get. The less power those emotions have. The more trust you build in yourself. Suddenly, you're not negotiating with your mood every morning. You're not asking permission to be great. You expect it. Because you've trained yourself to live from discipline, not desire. You are not your thoughts. You are not your doubts. You are not your fear. You are what you consistently do, regardless of what your emotions say. So build that version of yourself, the one who forces action when it's hard, who commands his state, who earns confidence by outworking every emotion that tries to stop him. Wake up every day and tell yourself, I silence the noise, I shut down the weakness, I act, I finish, I lead, I rise, I force myself to be consistent. That is the mindset of a finisher. That is the identity of a leader. That is the truth behind greatness. There is a hidden rhythm in repetition, an invisible momentum that only the truly committed will ever discover. While others flee from boredom, the few who rise understand that doing the same thing over and over again, even when it's hard, is how greatness is etched into time. Repetition is not glamorous. It doesn't earn applause. It doesn't trend. It doesn't go viral. And yet, it is the single most powerful driver of mastery that exists. When you return to the same task daily, whether it's training, reading, creating, learning, or improving, you're not just completing a routine. You're reinforcing identity. You're telling the world, this is who I am. Consistency is rarely loud. It's quiet. It shows up every morning, gets to work without needing a reason, and doesn't care if anyone is watching. The world tries to convince you that you need motivation to move. That's a trap. You don't need fireworks. You don't need adrenaline. You need rhythm. You need a discipline so ingrained that movement becomes a reflex. The true danger isn't failure, it's inconsistency. Missing one day becomes two becomes a week becomes your story. Your brain starts making excuses feel like logic. You tell yourself it didn't matter that much, that it's okay to stop. But what you're really doing is telling your future self, you don't deserve this. There are two types of people in this world, those who start strong and fade, and those who endure without spectacle. If you want to rise, if you want to be uncommon, you must fall in love with the process, not the prize. You must be willing to lace up your shoes when the world is sleeping. You must show up when no one's clapping. You must choose hard repetition over easy distraction. That's where champions are built. The greatest enemy of consistency is your own mind. It whispers, take a break. One day off won't hurt. You deserve rest. And yes, rest is part of growth, but rest is not escape. The moment you give yourself permission to escape, the discipline begins to rot. Rest only works if it's earned, if it fits into the system, not if it becomes your new habit. You'll know you're on the right path when the mundane starts to matter, when the small decisions hold weight, when every rep, every step, every page read becomes a thread in the fabric of your becoming. That's when transformation begins, not in huge leaps, but in small, repeated movements done with purpose. You cannot fake consistency. You can fake talent. You can fake charisma. You can even fake effort for a while. But consistency exposes everything. It humbles you. It tests your patience. It holds a mirror up and asks, are you really who you say you are? If the answer is yes, then prove it every day. Even when you feel like you're standing still, every step forward counts, especially the ones you force yourself to take when no one is watching. That's the difference between those who want it and those who live for it. The third phase in mastering consistency is sacrifice your comfort. If you truly want to rise above the average, you must leave the land of comfort behind. This is where your discipline begins to evolve. Because growth doesn't happen when you feel good. It happens when you feel pressure, when you're tired, when your muscles ache, and your mind tells you to stop, but you don't. Comfort is deceptive. It tells you that you're doing well enough, that it's okay to skip just one day, or that you deserve a break because you worked hard yesterday. It whispers excuses and soothes your ambition with distraction. But here's the brutal truth. Comfort never created champions. Comfort never built legacies. This is where your ability to choose pain over ease makes the difference. Wake up early even when your body craves sleep. Show up even when you don't feel like it. Train, work, study, push, even when your emotions scream for rest. Those moments, those tiny decisions are what define your trajectory. Understand this, discomfort is your ally. When you're sore from yesterday's work and you still show up today, you're making a statement to your future. When you push past the tiredness, the noise, the self-doubt, you earn something no shortcut can offer, real transformation. To become consistent, you have to reprogram how you think about comfort. Most people run from pain, but the consistent, they run towards it. They understand that every second of strain is a rep for their future. Every denied comfort is a stone in the foundation of their discipline. Start seeing resistance as a sign you're on the right path. If it's hard, it means you're doing something worth doing. No one ever said it would be easy. But you didn't come here for easy. You came here to rise. And that means your comfort zone has to become your enemy. So the next time your body says stop, the next time your mind says take it easy, you fight back. You push through. Because what's waiting on the other side isn't just a goal. It's a version of you that's sharper, stronger, unstoppable. Consistency isn't built by doing what's convenient. It's built by doing what's necessary every day without fail, no matter the cost. Your comfort is temporary, but your legacy, that's permanent. Choose wisely. You won't always feel like showing up. You won't always wake up with fire in your belly, ambition in your chest, and drive in your legs. There will be days when silence weighs heavier than noise, when your energy is buried under fatigue, and when everything inside you says, not today. And that's when it matters most. That's when the decision becomes the difference. You either act on your feelings or you act on your standards. Winners choose the second option every single time. Consistency is not created in the light, it's forged in the dark, in the unseen hours, when no one is watching. It's built through repetition, not recognition, through choosing discipline over desire. Success is not the result of a single sprint, but the outcome of thousands of small decisions done relentlessly. One morning at a time, one rep at a time, one uncomfortable choice at a time. Those who master their craft don't wait for motivation to arrive. They don't negotiate with the inner voice that says, just 5 more minutes or you deserve to rest today. They've already made the decision ahead of time. They've chosen who they are and they act in alignment with that identity, even when they don't feel like it, especially when they don't feel like it. There's something powerful about becoming predictable to yourself, about knowing that you will show up no matter what, that you are someone who does not make excuses, someone who keeps promises to themselves, because that consistency builds trust, not just from others, but within yourself. When you trust yourself, your momentum becomes unstoppable. You walk taller, think sharper, work smarter, because your foundation is stable, not built on emotions, but on execution. The truth is, no one will force you. No one will push you to your limits every day. No one will hold your hand at 5 a.m. when the alarm goes off. It has to be you. It has to be internal. You must become your own coach, your own motivator, your own accountability system. You must become the one that demands more of yourself, even when it would be easy to do less. And when it feels like progress is slow, when the results aren't visible, when your efforts feel unnoticed, that is the most important time to stay the course. Because success doesn't arrive with a trumpet. It creeps in slowly, then suddenly. The work you do in silence, the hours you log without applause, they're stacking up. They're forming the foundation for a future so strong it can't be broken, but only if you keep going. Consistency isn't about doing everything right. It's about doing the right thing again and again. It's about falling and rising, failing and trying, hurting and continuing. It's about showing up when it's boring, when it's hard, when it's raining, when it's lonely. Because every time you do, you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. And eventually, those votes accumulate into something unshakable. People won't remember your excuses, but they will remember your standards. They'll see what you were willing to tolerate from yourself. So what story are you writing with your daily actions? Are you the person who starts and stops, or the one who finishes what they begin? Are you the one who flashes bright for a moment, or the one who burns steady for a lifetime? Force yourself to be consistent. Force yourself to act when it's difficult. Train your mind to reject the easy way. Because the easy way always looks attractive, but it never leads anywhere meaningful. Consistency is the hard path, the lonely path, but it is the only path that leads to greatness. There is no secret, no shortcut, only repetition, only commitment, only the decision to keep moving forward when everything says stop. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present, show up again and again and again. You won't remember the days you wanted to give up, but the world will remember what you built by not giving up. Every action you take in silence is a brick laid in the fortress of your legacy. Consistency is not about applause. It's about discipline. Discipline to get up when there's no reward, no one watching, no cheer, no camera flash. That's when the true builders of greatness emerge. Because while most are chasing momentary highs, a few are crafting eternal stories, quietly, brutally, every single day. Your name, your work, your vision, it doesn't rise overnight. It rises with every time you show up when it's inconvenient. When you choose the hard path over the comfortable one. When you work through the pain, the boredom, the monotony, knowing that this routine is the foundation of your rise. Do not underestimate the value of repetition. Repeating the same foundational tasks, even when they seem small, turns you into a giant over time. That workout you didn't want to do, the book you forced yourself to read, the hour of focus you demanded from your distracted mind, they stack. Day after day, they multiply. And while others drift with trends and moods, you're shaping something solid, something unshakable. Consistency breaks resistance. Every time you override the inner voice that says, rest, quit, you've done enough, you're weakening that voice. You're training yourself to be stronger than your excuses. And eventually that voice will lose its power, and in its place will rise a mindset that doesn't negotiate with weakness. Remember, your potential isn't revealed in grand moments. It's hidden in ordinary days, in the way you talk to yourself at 5 a.m., in the way you execute the same routine for the 100th time, in the way you show respect to the process, even when progress feels invisible. Want to outlast everyone? Show up when it's no longer fun. Want to become unstoppable? Keep pushing when your results are silent. That's where greatness lives, not in bursts, but in long, consistent storms of effort. The legacy you want won't be written in a day. It will be written in daily lines of sweat, grit, failure, and rise. And when others look for magic tricks, you'll know that the only real trick was this: you never stop showing up. You don't get results by showing up when it's easy. You get results by showing up when it's hard, when you're tired, when nobody's watching. That's when you create separation. That's when the average give up and you rise. Let's be clear. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could become. And that bridge, it's made of consistency. Without it, dreams remain dreams. With it, they become inevitabilities. You force yourself to be consistent, not because it feels good, but because you made a promise to yourself. And when you start keeping promises to yourself, you become unstoppable. Think about the number of people who started something, got excited for a week, and disappeared in a month. Now ask yourself, do you want to be like them, or do you want to be different? If you want to live a life that others don't, you have to be willing to do what others won't. That begins with the choice to stay on course no matter how rough the storm becomes. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means showing up again and again, learning from failure, growing through repetition, and never allowing a bad day to become a bad pattern. The difference between a champion and everyone else is simple. The champion returns to the grind even when the fire burns low. The path to greatness is often dull, repetitive, and filled with sacrifice. There are no shortcuts, no cheat codes, only effort repeated day after day until it compounds into excellence. It's like building a wall, one brick at a time. You don't get the wall in a day, but every day you don't lay a brick is a day further from your goal. When others celebrate small wins and lose focus, you stay hungry. When they lose motivation, you find structure. When they question the point, you remember the mission. You are different, not because you were born with it, but because you built it relentlessly. This is the section where your excuses die. This is the chapter where you stop negotiating with your laziness. This is the moment you burn the plan B and go all in. You don't look for the easiest path. You choose the one that will forge you into something greater. You are building something that nobody else can see right now. That's why it's so easy to quit. Nobody would blame you for stopping. But that's exactly why you need to keep going, because this is about you. Not applause, not attention, not external rewards. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't break promises, not to others, but to yourself. You force yourself to be consistent, not because of what you'll get, but because of who you'll become in the process.